little bit of time to geek out on the Deep Space Nine episode because I found this card as I was shuffling the decks. But I gotta say, it reminded me about how great Deep Space Nine is as a series. And this episode in particular, Children of Time, gotta be one of the best of the Trek episodes. Even in the middle of the Dominion extended narrative that was the latter half of this series, we take some time to do an old-fashioned time travel episode, and this is a perfect episode. It is a perfect episode of Trek at its best. And I love Children of Time. It's one that you can go back to and watch again and again and again. So the premise of this episode, and maybe we'll have it on the back of the card, I don't know. Yes, time and fate. So there's always an anomaly. So the Defiant ends up going like 200 years back in time. What happens? Oh, no. The twist was, and I should just probably read the card. Maybe I'll read the card because, okay. So Cisco's crew encounter their own descendants on a planet in the Gamma Quadrant. So that's where the timey-wimey stuff begins. And the colonist explains that when the Defiant departs, in 2 days, they're going to then be in that very anomaly that caused them to crash 200 years in the past. That's nuts. That's really how to do a screw with somebody when it comes to time displacement. So the moral dilemma is: do we find a way to avoid this trap, and in doing so, these generations that have lived here for 200 years get wiped out of existence, or do we just let the crash happen so it's like, do these people get wiped out or not, and how do we deal with this? And it's nice too because we're dealing with a Star Trek dilemma that people are not in agreement with, because we have Chief O'Brien doesn't initially want to go through it. He wants to get back to his wife and kids, and I think he's finally. It's been a while since I've really sat down with this episode. Maybe I'll do it tonight. And I think he's finally convinced because he's just interacting with his what's the opposite of ancestors? His offshoots, 200 years later. I think he's finally convinced. Everybody's convinced and they're ready to do it, except one person. And that's Odo. Oh, yeah, this is totally spoilers because the card's already doing it. So, Odo's the one that's still alive. Dax as well as the symbiont. And unfortunately, the twist here is that Akira dies during that initial crash, and Odo never gets over it. And so and Odo waits 200 years to fix it, and all the other people be damned. And so that's the moral dilemma here. And now we know when we deal with time displacement and everything that these people do exist. They just exist in a different reality, and and the Defiant manages to come back and go into their own. But to deny their existence is something that this episode doesn't touch on. But we kind of all know when it comes to time travel stuff now that every opening it becomes its own reality. So that's how time travel works. But that doesn't take away from the power of this episode. And I tell you what, my favorite line that I always take with me in this episode is with Worf, because Klingons overdone. I'll take them or leave them, but Worf's a special case. So much as Trek is about Worf, and this is a great Worf beat, because here we see up here, these are the sons of Moog. They are Worf's descendants, and they're just kind of the hunters, while everyone else are the gatherers in the community. But these folks want to stay outside of it, so they're just doing their own thing, and they're the sons of Moog, and they want battle. But then when everybody knows that these are the end days, and the Defiant's going to go back and save itself, and thereby wipe everyone else out, the sons of Moog come to where everybody's farming, and they're like, where is this great battle? And I think Michael Dorn has the line, the battle is with time. Sorry to geek out, but it was an awesome beat. This is an awesome episode. It's worth reviewing and watching again and again, because you can't get sick of it. This is really Trek at its best, and it's worth a few minutes of everyone's time. Children of Time. I don't even know what season this is in. I feel like it's maybe sixth season, 6 out of the 7. But there we go. Children of Time. Great, great episode. Worth your time. A lot of fun. So there we go.